Hello, my name is Catherine Austin, and I'm one of the judges of the Ottawa Public Library's Awesome Authors Youth Writing Contest. I'm also an author myself. I write funny stories for kids. I write more serious stories for kids and teens. I write picture books too. And I write short stories for all ages. I read books for all ages too. I love picture books. I love novels written in verse. I love historical fiction. I love fantasy fiction. I love science fiction. I love funny books like these. And I love serious books like these. And I love to reread my favorites of classic children's fiction. There really isn't any kind of story that I don't like. I read a lot of stories by children and teens too, because I've been a judge of the Awesome Authors Contest for 5 years. So over that time, I've read 600 or 700 stories by kids and teens. And among the stories I've chosen as the winners have been funny stories, sad stories, creepy stories, stories set in the future, stories set in the past, all kinds of stories. I do have a checklist by which I judge the entries. So I consider things like the quality of the writing, the characterization, the vividness of the setting, the plot and pacing, and the ambition of the author. So what your story means, what you're trying to say, and how original you are in how you say it. And I also leave some room for my gut feeling, because sometimes I love a story and I can't quite say why. Fine writing always stands out. If a young writer uses words with flair, that will catch my attention. And I do love humor, so there's usually at least one funny story among the winners and honorable mentions that I choose. But most years, most often, my personal favorite story is not the one that I choose as the winner. And very often, stories that I love don't even make my final selection. I try not to be too personal in my judgment, because it's not Catherine Austin's favorite story contest. It's the Ottawa Public Library's Awesome Authors Contest. So I try to choose winners and honorable mentions that are the best written stories that I think all people will enjoy, not just my own personal favorites. And so what that means is, don't try to please me, the judge. Don't write for me. Write for yourself, write for your friends, write for other readers. Don't try to please me. Write for yourself. You're your first reader after all, and you'll have the most fun and the best chance at the contest if you write the best story that is the type of story you love. If you're not sure where to start, I do have some tricks. In fact, I have a whole podcast dedicated to young writers to help you write stories. It's called Cabin Tales, and you can listen to it. You can find it on the web at cabintales.ca. And you can listen to me and all my guest authors talk for hours about how you can write the best story you can. But for now, I have another trick to share. If you have no idea where to start, then start with a setting. Start with a place that you've actually been, and then think of a time, a strange time to be there. So maybe it's the mall, but it's at midnight. Or maybe it's your classroom, but it's 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Or maybe it's your yard, but it's 1,000 years ago. Maybe it's a campground or a beach that you like, but it's during a snowstorm. So just take that trick of a setting that you know, but a very strange time, and think, who would be there then? What are they up to? Are they hiding? Are they searching for something? What is their story? And maybe that will help spark a story in your mind. There are lots of other ideas on my podcast at cabintales.ca. So for more ideas, one thing you can do is read past issues of Potpourri, which is the anthology of all the winning and honorable mention stories and poems and graphic narratives in both English and French from the Awesome Authors Contest every year. So those books are available from the Friends of the Ottawa Public Library Association, and you can order them and read them. That won't necessarily tell you what kinds of stories are going to do the best in the contest this year, but it will be very entertaining, and they might spark some ideas for you too. One thing, the best advice I can give you is just to begin. You don't have to have a good story idea before you start. Writing is kind of magical. You might start with a couple of really boring sentences, but then ideas will bubble up from the act of writing itself. So just begin anywhere. And if I have one last piece of advice, it would be to revise your story before you submit it to the contest. Don't just hand in the first thing you write. Read it over and ask some pretty tough questions like, does this make sense? That's a good question to ask. Does it make sense? Is there a way to make it better? Can you build the suspense a bit? Can you get rid of some of the more boring parts? Can you add some humor? Things like that. Feel free to get feedback from a friend or a parent or a teacher, and maybe they can suggest some things for you to do to change your story, to revise it, to make it as best as possible. But do not let anybody else write your story for you. If you have a parent who likes to write, they're going to want to take over your story. They're going to want to write it for you. Do not let them do that. Say, Mom, Dad, go write your own story. This one's mine, and yours will probably be better. Write your own story. Write whatever kind of story thrills you or cracks you up or grips you, and you'll be well on your way to creating those same great feelings in your reader. So, get to it. Start writing. Good luck with the contest. I hope to read your story soon.